this kid calls me up and he says, I've got the next greatest thing on the face of the earth. And I said, I've heard that 1,000,000 times. And he said, I've got the next greatest thing on the face of the earth. You're not going to believe this. So I said, yeah, I'll see you later. Meanwhile, he comes and he's sitting on my couch in my office, and I won't answer the phone, and I won't let him see me. And at the end of the week, I finally felt sorry for him. And I said, all right, come on into my office. Play me this demo of this next greatest thing. So he puts it on, and I listened to the first song on there, and I said, you know what? This is real. This is the real thing. I mean, who's the group? He says, sit down. I said, come on, I don't sit down. He says, I'm telling you, sit down. And I said, no, just tell me who the group is. He says, well, it's one kid. He's 16. He's playing all the instruments, writing everything, and singing all the voices, and it's all him. So I sat down and I said, well, does he live here? And he said, no, he's in New York visiting his sister. So I got on the phone and I called him, and he came back, and it turned out that was Prince. So at that point, I decided that I would probably try to manage him and get into the management business, and and be a part of all that. And I called him. I came back and I met him when I saw the fire in his eyes, and the attitude and the direction and the focus and the passion that this kid had. When I saw all of that, I thought, okay, I've got to devote my life to this, because this is the real thing. I knew I needed to raise money for it all. So I got a doctor and a lawyer to put up $50,000 each. And we got him in the studio. My studio was just a demo studio. I went to a bigger studio, and we did the demo. There's a lot of other reasons that, how he got signed and why he got signed and all that. But I did a pretty famous trick. Is we had the demo done, and I knew that who knew me? I'm just a schmo from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Who cares about me and the big business out there in Los Angeles, California? So I got on the phone and I called Warner Brothers and I said, Columbia Records is flying us out, and they're paying for everything for this child genius. And, while we're out there, would you want to hear it too? And the guy was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I got off the phone with him, and I called Columbia, and I said, listen, Warner Brothers is flying out to hear this child genius, And it's like, yeah, no problem. Please see us, when you're out here. We'd love to see you. They're figuring out it's on Warner Brothers' nickel. Warner Brothers thinks it's on Columbia. Then I called A&M Records, and I said, listen, we're being flown out by Columbia Records. Do you want to hear it? And yeah. So I got into all those. And we put together the demo. I called in a friend of mine who actually was in my band with me to produce the demos. He actually has now become a pretty famous producer. Produced a lot of major hit records. And I called him in to do the demo. I stayed for a while. We did a few albums there. And, Prince actually lived with me. So my then wife and myself, we brought him into the house, and he lived with us, and we put everything together and did all that. And we became surrogate parents for probably 3 or 4 years. And there came to be a time where it just got to be so much work for me, and it was getting crazy, and there was a lot of other things that I wanted to do. And there was other acts that I wanted to manage, and I knew that it was my first time. I just decided, I was lucky. I wanted to be in a band in my life, and all of a sudden we had a little miniature hit record. I wanted to be, a concert promoter, and I'm bringing in all the major acts. I wanted to go out on the road. I'm on the road. I was very, very lucky. I wanted to be a manager. Okay, now we found a superstar. But at that time, I really I'd never managed anyone before. And there were a lot of people who were much better at it than I was. Subsequently, I managed for many, many years after that. So I had to make a decision. I didn't want to hold him back and that's a very good thing for aspiring artists, is, the first time that you become you decide you're going to become an artist, obviously you can't get a manager, so who do you get as your manager? Oh, my friend's cousin was in a band. He knows us. He can manage you. Or you remember Uncle Ed? He was in a band in 1952. He knows the business. He can... So you get with these people that aren't, and what happens is the band is learning at the same time that the manager's learning. That's not good. Your manager needs to be ahead of you and have the contacts. And So I knew that at that time. It was okay when it was smaller, but as we started to get bigger and bigger and bigger, I came to the realization that I could go on. So I sold my contract to other managers, and I held on to a lot of rights, which I settled later on. So everything turned out very nicely. No complaints here.